الحمد لله حمدا كثيرا طيبا مباركا فيه كما يحب ربنا ويرضى. أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له، وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله الناصح الأمين. اللهم صل على نبينا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين ومن تمسك بسنته إلى يوم الدين. ثم أما بعد، يا عباد الله. قال فضيلة الشيخ عبد السلام برجس رحمه الله تعالى: عباد الله، لقد أمر الله سبحانه وتعالى عباده بالصلوات الخمس. He says, O servants of Allah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He has commanded His slaves to pray the 5 prayers. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He has commanded His slaves to pray the 5 prayers. وَأَمْرَهُمْ بِالْمُحَافَظَةِ عَلَيْهَا, and He has commanded them that they have to be diligent over them and they have to safeguard them. بِالْمُحَافَظَةِ عَلَيْهَا, that they have to safeguard their prayers. فَمَنْ حَفِظَ دِينَهُ, and whoever has preserved his prayers, he has safeguarded his prayers, then he would have safeguarded his deen, he would have safeguarded his religion. وَمَنْ ضَيَّعَهَا فَهُوَ لِمَا سِوَاهَا أَضْيَعُ, and whoever has been neglectful of them, whoever has neglected them and he has lost them, then verily you will find that he will be, as relates to other than that, from the greatest of the losers. Whoever is not preserving his prayers, then you will find that the rest of his deeds, they will fall by the wayside. He won't be one who preserves the rights of his parents. He won't be one who preserves the rights of the neighbor. He won't be one who preserves the rights of the poor by spending upon them and giving charity and paying zakat, so on and so forth. For the one who he loses out, he does not preserve his salah, then you will find that when it comes to other than that, then he will be from the most neglectful and negligent of the people. فإن حفظها إنما يكون بالحفظ شروطها وأركانها وواجباتها, and that verily the preserving of the prayer, then verily that is only done بحفظ شروطها, by preserving its conditions, وأركانها, and its pillars, وواجباتها, and its obligated factors and obligated matters. وإتيان بذلك على وجه المأثور عن رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم, and he has to bring that and be diligent and perform that in the most excellent manner as it has come narrated on the Messenger صلى الله عليه وسلم. ينبغي للمسلم أن يتعلم شروط الصلاة. It is obligatory upon the Muslim that he learns what are the prerequisites of the prayer. What are the shurut? What are the conditions, the prerequisites of the prayer? Every Muslim has to learn that. وَأَرْكَانَهَا, and every Muslim has to learn what are the pillars of the prayer. وَوَاجِبَاتَهَا, and every Muslim has to learn what are the obligatory matters of the prayer. ليكون تعلمه ذلك عونا له على حفظ صلاته من الخطأ والنقصان والبطلان, so that his learning of that, it will be that which will aid him on the preserving of his prayer from mistakes, from deficiencies, and from them being rendered null and void. وأما شروط الصلاة, as regards to the prerequisites, as regards to the conditions of the prayer, فهي تسعة, then they are 9. أولها, the first of them, al-Islam, is al-Islam, وضده الكفر, and the opposite of it is disbelief. The opposite of it is disbelief. So in order for the prayer to be accepted, then it has to come from one who is a Muslim. وَالْكَافِرْ لَا يُقْبَلُ مِنْهُ عَمَلٌ, and the kafir, there is no good deed that is accepted from the kafir. There's no good deed that is accepted from the kafir. Let this be an example, let this be a reminder to those who go beyond the bounds and they go too far and they go beyond the boundaries when it comes to calling the kuffar to Islam. And they invite them to come and pray in the ranks of the Muslims, as if this is a form of da'wah, thinking that this will be something that will be beneficial for this particular kafir. No one understand that it is not permissible to enter a kafir into the lines and the ranks of the Muslims. It's not permissible. And by him doing that and praying that prayer, it will not benefit him. So spend your time and spend your energy in calling them to La ilaha illallah. Spend your time and spend your energy in calling them to the worship of Allah and Allah Ta'ala alone, so that they may enter into Al-Islam. Because if they do not enter into Al-Islam, no matter what they do from good deeds, no matter what they do from outstanding and good moral character and so on and so forth behavior, they will not be accepted from them. قال الله سبحانه وتعالى ما كان للمشركين أن يعمروا مساجد الله شاهدين على أنفسهم بالكفر أولئك حبطت أعمالهم وفي النار هم خالدون. Allah Ta'ala, He says, and it is not for the polytheists to maintain the houses of Allah. It is not for the polytheists to maintain the masajid of Allah. Those polytheists who they testify and they bear witness upon themselves to their disbelief. Allah Ta'ala, He says, أُولَٰئِكَ حَبِطَتْ أَعْمَالُهُمْ. These ones, their actions will be rendered null and void. Their actions will be rendered null and void. And inside of the fire they shall abide forever. وقال الله تعالى, and Allah Ta'ala, He says, وَقَدِمْنَا إِلَى مَا عَمِلُوا مِنْ عَمَلٍ فَجَعَلْنَاهُ هَبَاءً مَنْثُورًا. Allah Ta'ala, He says, and we have went to that which they have done from actions, meaning that which the disbelievers have done from good righteous good deeds. We have went to what they, the disbelievers, had done from good deeds, and we made it like scattered dust. We made it like scattered dust particles. Does not benefit them. So a person, he has to be a Muslim. This is the first condition. الثاني العقل. The second one is an aql. They have to be of sound mind and intellect. وضده جنون. And the opposite of it is insanity, one who is crazy. والمجنون مرفوع عنه القلم. The one who he is mentally incapable, the one who is insane, or the one who suffers from mental retardation, then the pen is lifted from them. The pen is lifted from them. Hatta yufiqa, until they gain their intellect, until their intellect comes to them and is rectified. The hadith of Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, rufi al-qalam an thalathin, from the hadith of the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, where he said that the pen has been lifted from three. An-na'im hatta yastayqiz, from the one who is sleeping until he awakes. Wal-majnoon hatta yufiqa, from the one who is mentally insane until he regains his sanity. وَالصَّغِيرُ حَتَّى يَبْلُغْ, and from the small child until they reach the age of puberty. Then the pen is lifted from them. Which brings us to الثالث, the third condition from the conditions of the salah, at-tamyiz, discernment. An individual has to reach the age of discernment. وَضِدُّهُ الصِّغَرُ. The opposite of tamyiz is yani صِغَر, being small, being very, very young in age. Being very, very young in age. وَحَدُّ الصِّغَرُ سَبْعُ السِّنِينَ. And the hadd, or how would you say, the age in which the smallness ends, or the age in which that ends, is at 7. Once the child reaches the age of 7, ثُمَّ بَعْدَ ذَلِكَ يُؤْمَرُ بِالصَّلَاةِ, then they are ordered to pray the prayer. This is very important to know and to understand, so we don't go overboard. It is not from hikmah, it is not from wisdom to wake up the 3-year-old child and to force them to pray Fajr, and to force them to pray all of their prayers, the child that is 3, the child that is 4, and so on and so forth. If they want to pray with you, ahlan wa sahlan, let them. But you should not, as a parent, be hard upon them and force them into doing this at such an early and young age, because the Sharia, it does not place that upon them as children to be diligent on their 5 prayers at this age. But rather, once they reach the age of 7, then at this point they should be taught how to pray. They should be taught about the ahkam of the salah. They should be taught about the likes of what we're discussing today, about the conditions of the prayer, and the arkan of the prayer, and the wajibat of the prayer, and so on and so forth, and how to pray, and the supplications of the prayer, and so on and so forth. All of this should start at the age of 7. So start at the age of 7. And if a child is shatir, if a child is outstanding, and so on and so forth, then they learn something from this before that, that's no problem with that. But at the age of 7, it should become a priority to make sure the parents are teaching their children how to pray. Teaching their children how to pray. The قول النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم, and this is according to the statement of the Prophet صلى الله عليه وسلم, مُرُّوا أَبْنَاءَكُمْ بِالصَّلَاةِ لِلسَّبْعِ. Command your children to pray at the age of 7. وَضْرِبُوهُمْ عَلَيْهَا لِعَشْرٍ. And beat them about it when they turn 10. Spank them for not praying at the age of 10. Which is another important indication, as the ulama, they point out from this hadith. Which means that at the age of 7, so when they are 7, when they are 8, when they are 9 and the like, if they happen to miss a prayer here and there, these small children, then do not reprimand them, do not spank them for missing the prayer at this age. But once they turn 10, then at this point, then they have to pray all their prayers 5 times every day, and if they do not, then you are to spank them for that. وَفَرِّقُوا بَيْنَهُمْ فِي الْمَضَاجِعِ. And separate their beds. And separate their beds. So at this age, then their beds should be separated, and they should not be sleeping in the same beds. وَشَرْطٌ رَابِعٌ. The fourth, رَفْعُ الْحَدَثِ, is the removal of any type of impurities. The removal of any type of impurities, which behooves us to learn and to place attention on those on the bab al-fiqh, on the chapter of fiqh, which deals with what? Which deals with the impurities, so that we know what are the impurities, and so on and so forth, so we know what needs to be removed. But those impurities, then they have to be removed. For example, urine, feces, so on and so forth, these things have to be removed. They have to be removed. The Shaykh rahimahullah ta'ala, he says, removal of the hadath, to remove the statement of being outside of wudu. Naam, not izalatul najas or najasa, but to remove the state of being outside of wudu. So you have to remove the hadath. أما بالوضوء إن كان الحدث أصغر, then you remove it by the wudu. If the state of being outside the wudu is the small state, so for like going to the bathroom, for like passing wind, sleeping, and so on and so forth, then a person, he has to make the wudu so that he comes back inside of the state of purity. وَالْبِغْتِسَالِ إِنْ كَانَ الْحَدَثُ الْأَكْبَرُ, and by making a ghusl, if it is a major state of impurity, like for those married couples who have relations, then after which they have to make a ghusl before they pray again. قال الله عز وجل, Allah عز وجل, he says, يا أيها الذين آمنوا إذا قمتم إلى الصلاة فاغسلوا وجوهكم وأيديكم إلى المرافق وامسحوا برؤوسكم وأرجلكم إلى الكعبين. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, he says, what means, oh you who believe, when you stand up for the prayer, then wash your faces and wash your hands until the elbows, and wipe over your heads and the feet until the ankles, to the end of the ayah. Well, hadith of Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, in the hadith of the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, لا يقبل الله صلاة بغير طهور, that Allah does not accept the prayer of the one who does not have tuhur, who is not in a state of tahara, he does not have wudu. So we have to make the wudu, we have to be in a state of wudu in order for the salat to be accepted. وَشَرْطُ الْخَامِسِ إِزَالَةُ النَّجَاسَةِ مِنَ الثَّوْبِ وَبُقْعَةِ وَالْبَدَنِ. And the Fifth condition is that we have to remove the impurities. And this is what I came to mind previously. We have to remove the impurities from our clothes, from the place that we're praying in, and from our person. Naam, the impurities, as we mentioned, like the impurities of feces, the impurities of urine, so on and so forth. Then these things have to be removed, either from our person or from our clothes. If they are upon our clothes, they must be washed away, or from the place that we are praying in. يقول الله سبحانه وتعالى, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He says, وَثِيَابَكَ فَطَهِّرْ, and your clothes, then purify them. وَهُوَ عَامٌ, in this ayah, it is general. في كل تطهير, in every purification, معنويا كان أو حسيا, whether it is in meaning, like to purify oneself from kufr and from shirk and so on and so forth, or whether it is literally like to purify one's body, or to purify one's clothes, or to purify the place in which one is praying from filthy and dirty things. وَشَرْطٌ سَادِسٌ, and sixthly, then it is satrul awra, that we have to cover the awra, we have to cover the private parts. وَقَدْ أَجْمَعَ أَهْلِ الْعِلْمِ عَلَى فَسَادٍ صَلَاةَ مَنْ صَلَّى عُرْيَانًا, and the scholars, they are in consensus of the invalidness and of the one who prays naked, or the one who prays without his awra being covered, that his prayer does not count. For the one who prays in a state of newness, or the one who prays and his awra is not covered, وَهُوَ يَقْدِرُ عَلَى سِتْرِ عَوْرَةِ, and he has the ability to cover his private parts, he has the ability to cover his awra. وَحَدَّ عَوْرَةِ الرَّجُلِ, and what is the awra for the man? Min surra ila al-rukbah, that it is from his navel to his knee. This is the awra for the man. Wa amma al-mar'ah, and for the woman, al-baligha, فَكُلُّهَا awra, then all of her is the awra. Siwa wajhaha wa fi as-salah, all of her is the awra except for her face inside of the prayer. وَقَالَ الْعُلَمَاء وَيَدَيْهَا كَذَلِكَ, and the ulama, they say, and also her hands. So inside of the prayer, then she is allowed to show her face and to show her hands, but the rest of her body, from her hair to her feet, then it must be covered. يقول الله جل وعلا, Allah جل وعلا, He says, يا بني آدم خذوا زينتكم عند كل مسجد, O children of Adam, then take your adornments to every masjid. Take your adornments, adorn yourselves in every masjid. And the ma'na al-masjid here, ay inda kulli salah, meaning in every prayer, then you have to cover your awra with those clothes in which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He has provided us with. وَثَبَتَ فِي الْحَدِيثِ, and it has been confirmed in the hadith, لَا يَقْبَلُ اللَّهُ صَلَاةَ حَائِضٍ إِلَّا بِخِمَارٍ. The Prophet ﷺ, he said that Allah does not accept the prayer of a woman who menstruates except that she has on a khimar. وَالْحَائِض, and the one who menstruates here, the woman who is of puberty, the woman who has reached the age of puberty, that she has to have on her khimar. وقالت أم سلمة رضي الله تعالى عنها وأرضاها للرسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم تصلي إحدانا في ضرع وخمار وليس عليها إزار. قال النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم لا بأس بذلك إذا كان سابغا يغطي قدميها. Our mother Salima radiyallahu ta'ala anha, she said to the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam that one of us, meaning one of us women, we will pray and she doesn't have on anything except for her house garment, her house dress, and a khimar, but she does not have with it an izar. She has on her house dress and she has a khimar, but she does not have the underskirt that comes from the waist down. She has on the dress and the khimar. To which the Prophet ﷺ, he said, then there is no problem with that as long as that dress, it covers her feet. There is no problem with that as long as that dress, it covers her feet. So the ulama, they mention that as long as a woman's foot is covered by her dress, it is long enough and it covers her feet completely, then she does not necessarily have to wear socks when she's praying inside of her house. As long as her dress covers her completely, her feet completely, then she does not necessarily have to have on socks when she prays inside of her house. فَيَجِبُ سَتْرُ الْعَوْرَةِ. So the private parts, they have to be covered بِمَا يَسْتُرُ لَوْنَ الْبَشَرَةِ. They have to be covered with that which it hides the color of the skin. It can't be something that is sheer to which you can see the skin underneath it or the color of the skin underneath it, because then that won't meet the criterion for that which covers the body. فإن لم يستر لون البشرة ووصفها فإنه لا يعتد به عند أهل العلم. If it does not cover up the color of the skin, nor is it accurate in not describing, not showing that which is under it. So it can't be sheer and it can't be tight. If it is tight and it describes that which is under it, then there's no consideration with the people of knowledge as relates to this. So the likes of these clothes, then they are not permissible to pray therein. كَالثِّيَابِ الْخَفِيفَةِ وَالضُّرُوعِ الْخَفِيفَةِ. And this is like the see-through thawbs and the see-through dresses of the women, then one cannot pray in the likes of this. And likewise that which is tight, skin tight, one cannot pray in the likes of these things either. وَيَجِبُ عَلَى الرَّجُلِ. And it is incumbent upon the man أَن يَضَعَ شَيْءٍ عَلَى عَاتِقَيْهِ فِي الصَّلَاةِ. That the man, he must put something on his shoulders in the prayer. So it's not permissible to pray in a tank top, but you have to have something upon the shoulders. لقول النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم في حديث أبو هريرة, as it comes in the statement of the Prophet صلى الله عليه وسلم in the hadith of Abu Hurairah, لا يصلين أحدكم في ثوب واحد وليس على عاتقه منه شيء. That none of you is to pray inside of one thawb that doesn't have and it doesn't cover his shoulders whatsoever. That the shoulders, they must be covered when he prays, or the prayer, it will not count. These are something from the conditions of the salah. هذا أقول قولي هذا واستغفر لي ولكم فاستغفروه فإنه هو الغفور الرحيم. بسم الله والحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله وبعد. والشرط السابع, and the seventh condition من شروط الصلاة, from the conditions of the prayer, استقبال القبلة. We have to face the Qibla. قال الله عز وجل, Allah عز وجل, He says, فولي وجهك شطر المسجد الحرام وحيث ما كنتم فولوا وجوهكم شطره. Allah Ta'ala, He says, and turn your face to the Kaaba. Turn your face to the Masjid al-Haram, meaning the Kaaba. And wherever you may be, then turn your face in that direction. Wherever you may be, then turn your face in that direction. وَلِلنَّاسِ بِاسْتِقْبَالِ الْقِبْلَةِ عَلَى قِسْمَيْنِ. The people, as relates to the face in the Qibla, then they have two types. The one who is close to the Kaaba, إِصَابَةُ عَيْنِ الْكَعْبَةِ, the one who can see the Kaaba, he's near to the Kaaba, then he has to face the Kaaba. Then you have the one who is far from the Kaaba, he cannot see the Kaaba, he's not inside of Mecca, nor is he near to Mecca. Then for this one, he must face the direction of the Kaaba. He must face the direction of the Kaaba. Na'am. وقال النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم, and the Prophet صلى الله عليه وسلم, he said, ما بين المشرق والمغرب قبلة. The Prophet صلى الله عليه وسلم, he said, that which is between the east and the west, that is the Qibla. That which is between the east and the west, and it is the Qibla. And commenting upon this hadith, Shaykh Uthaymeen rahimahullah ta'ala, he said, and the Nabi صلى الله عليه وسلم قال لأهل المدينة, قال النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم لأهل المدينة ما بين المشرق والمغرب قبلة. That the Prophet صلى الله عليه وسلم, he said to the people of Medina, that which is between the east and the west, and it is the Qibla. لأن المدينة تقع شمالا عن Mecca. And this is because Medina is north of Mecca. So when you are north of Mecca, then that which is between the east and that which is between the west, then it is the Qibla, because you are north of Mecca. فإن جهة القبلة تكون ما بين المشرق والمغرب. If you are to the east, or if you are to the north of Mecca. Likewise, if you are to the south of Mecca, then that which is the Qibla for you will be that which is between the east and the west. وعلى هذا فلو انحرفت ولكنك لم تخرج عن مسامتة الجهة فإن ذلك لا يضر. So if with this we understand that if you were to be slightly off from the direction of the Qibla, a little bit this way, a little bit that way, but you did not go beyond the general direction of the Qibla, then that will not harm you. لأن الجهة واسعة, because the general direction that it is broad, it is wide, and this is from the easiness in which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala He has placed upon the Muslims. So if you're a little bit off, then it is okay. وإن كان بلد يقع شرقا عن المكة, and if you are in a land that is to the east of Mecca, فنقول, then we say ما بين الشمال والجنوب قبلة. If you are to the east of Mecca, then for you that which is between the north and the south is the Qibla. That which is between the north and the south is the Qibla. Why? Because you are to the east. So if you are to the east of Mecca, na'am, and for example, Mecca is in this direction, then that which is between the what? The north and the south for you is what? Is the Qibla. Mafhum? And if likewise, if you are to the west of Mecca, then that which is between the north and the south is the Qibla. So for example, if we say that Mecca was in this direction, then that which is between what? The north and the south is the Qibla. And this is from the ease in which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala He has placed upon us. So it is incumbent that we face the Qibla as much as we possibly can. And we try to ascertain what is the direction of the Qibla to the best of our ability. And if we have striven and we strived and we tried hard to find what is the direction of the Qibla by asking the people of that land, or asking the people who know in which direction, the directions and so on and so forth, and how to ascertain the directions, or we tried our best by looking at the celestial bodies, the stars, to see what direction that we are in and the like. And we prayed upon that, only to find out after we have prayed that we were mistaken and we actually were not facing the right direction, then that salah is not to be repeated, because you tried your hardest to find the Qibla. And the Shaykh, he mentions that this was that which the Prophet ﷺ taught to the Sahaba. This is what the Prophet ﷺ taught to the Sahaba. And likewise, the same goes for facing the Qibla. If you are upon the ocean or you are in the air upon the plane, then you strive your best to find the direction of the Qibla and you pray in that direction. And there are individuals who it is removed from them the obligation of having to find out where the Qibla is, and the likes of this are for the individual who he is shackled, he is in prison and the like, and he cannot move. He's shackled, he's in prison, or he's in a situation where he physically cannot move. Then he will pray in whatever direction he's praying, and it's not upon him to try to find the direction of the Qibla, because it's upon everyone to fear Allah to the best of their ability. Secondly, is the one who is in a state of extreme fear, like those who are fighting in a war and so on and so forth. Then in this situation, if you're in a state of extreme fear, then it is not upon you to face the Qibla because of being in a state of extreme fear. Thirdly, the one who is praying a voluntary prayer, when he is traveling and the like, then it is okay for him not to face the Qibla. So for example, if one is upon a riding animal, or he is in a car, or he's in a train, or he's in a plane, or he's on a boat, or whatever form of transportation he is upon, and he's praying a voluntary prayer, then it is not wajib upon him to face the direction of the Qibla. The next condition from the conditions for the acceptance of the salah is that we have to pray upon its time. We have to pray our prayers upon their proper times. فَأَوْلُ وَقْتُ الظُّهُرِ. So the first time for dhuhr is when the sun has passed its zenith. This is when the time for dhuhr it comes in, and the last time for the time of dhuhr, then this is when the shadow of everything becomes the same in size. When the shadow of everything becomes the same in size, then the time for dhuhr, then it has elapsed, and now enters the time of asr, as it comes in the hadith of Ibn Abbas radiyallahu ta'ala anhuma. The time for asr The time for Asr is the time where the shade or the shadow of everything becomes its like, all the way until it becomes double its size. Then this is the time of Asr, as it comes in the hadith of Abdullah ibn Abbas radiyallahu ta'ala anhuma. And the time for Maghrib, then this is the time where the sun it has set, the time where the sun it has set, all the way until the sun is totally gone and the Shafaq al-Ahmar is gone, until the redness of the sky or the redness on the horizon is completely gone and is completely overtaken by black. Then that 2 times, and that is between those 2 times is the time of Maghrib, and the time of Isha is when the sun is totally gone, totally out the sky. Shafaq al-Ahmar is gone and the redness upon the horizon is totally gone. Then this is the time when the Isha begins. Again, this stresses the point, this stresses us studying these abwab al-fiqhiyya, these chapters of fiqh which mention these things, so we can know in detail exactly the times of the prayer and so on and so forth, so that we may safeguard and protect our prayers. وَشَرْطٌ تَاسِعٌ, and the ninth and the final condition for the acceptance of the prayer, that it is an-niyyah, that it is the intention. وَمُحَلُّهَا الْقَلْبِ, and the place of the intention is inside of your heart, is inside of your heart. وَتَلَفُّظْ بِهَا بِدْعَةٌ, and to articulate it, it is bid'ah. So to come to the prayer, for example, to say, I'm going to pray 4 raka'at of Salatul Dhuhr, and you say this with your tongue, this is bid'ah. The Prophet ﷺ, he never said this, he never did it like this, nor did the Sahaba, nor did the Tabi'i, nor the Atba Tabi'i, nor any of the Imam, the Imams of the Deen ever have done this. This is bid'ah. The mahal al-niyyah is inside of the qalb, is inside of your chest. It's inside of your chest. There's no need for you to speak it. Who are you speaking it for? Allah Ta'ala knows what's in your chest. So what are you saying it for? The ulama, they mention a person contemplating if he has wudu, doesn't have wudu, get up to make wudu, and so on and so forth. All of this is what? This is an expression, an illustration of his intention to pray. To pray. So this is sufficient, it suffices you. والدليل قول النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم إنما الأعمال بالنيات, and the dalil is a statement of the Prophet صلى الله عليه وسلم that verily actions are only but by their intentions. So a person has to have the niyyah, he has to have the intention to pray the prayer, and without the likes of these things, then the salah, it won't count. In general, if any of these aforementioned 9 conditions are missing, if they are not present, then the prayer, it will not count. The prayer, it will not count. So it is incumbent for us who are concerned about safeguarding our prayers that we learn exactly what are the conditions of the prayer, so that our prayers may be accepted. Likewise, that we learn what are the arkan, what are the pillars of the prayer, so that our prayers can be accepted, and that we learn what are the wajibat of the salah, so that we may safeguard and preserve and protect our prayers and pray as we have been commanded to pray. هذا يا عباد فأقيموا الصلاة.